Everyone, coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show. As you see right here, NXT Women's Champion Indy Hartwell makes a special announcement regarding her and her future heading towards what's going on with her. She's heading to Monday Night Raw. But what's the future hold for the NXT Women's Championship? We'll talk about that coming up, as well as a lot of final matches. As JD Madonna has his final matches, he's heading to Raw as well. JD Madonna's going to Raw. A lot of tag teams are heading to Raw too. Alba Fire and Exodon heading to SmackDown. Speaking of SmackDown, Raw, they're taking on their challengers, Container Chance, and Kaden Carter coming up. And two, we wish the great one, The Rock, a happy birthday. The Rock has his birthday today. We'll get this and more when the Pro Wrestling Show presents the NXT Report, and it starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. We got a lot to get to, but first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Man, what a somewhat lackluster NXT tonight, but hey, NXT is already lackluster as is. But we'll get to that coming up. So let's get started with this. We know that Trick Williams, Trick Williams calling out Braun Breaker after what Braun did to his friend Carmelo Hayes, the NXT champion. Trick Williams wants to step up and take on Braun. So we now know that Trick Williams will take on Braun Breaker next week. It's gonna be rough. I tell you that right now. Trick Williams stepping up for his friend. Trick Williams wants to make an example of Braun and what Braun did to Carmelo. Did what he did, spearing Carmelo through the barricade. You know, Carmelo, we haven't heard the condition from Carmelo, what his condition is right now, but Trick Williams wants to step up and fight. So they'll fight next week. Even got the hit the support of Apollo Cruz. Apollo Cruz heading to Raw. Apollo Cruz telling Trick Williams he's doing the right thing, stepping up for his friend. But Trick Williams will have his one-on-one match next week um, against Braun Breaker. So we'll get to see that coming up. Speaking of that, the first night of the match was the NXT North American Championship. Wes Lee defended his championship against Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak thought he was going to get a upper hand against Wes Lee, but Wes Lee might have to watch his own back because Tyler Bates looking at that NXT North American Championship real hard. And Tyler Bates might want to be the NXT North American Champion sooner rather than later. So Tyler Bates looking at eyeing that championship real hard. So can we see that coming forward? Only time will tell. JD Madonna had his last match in NXT when he took on somebody, but JD Madonna's heading to Raw. JD Madonna's going to be a technical wizard. As you can see, JD Madonna um, winning his match. He's head to Raw. JD Madonna got drafted, so we'll see that coming up. Speaking of that, um, Axion and had a match against Scripps. Now we know who the identity of Scripps is. Scripps is none other than Reggie. Reggie Axion won his match over Scripps. So Scripps, was you got Axion Reggie. I think Reggie was Carmelo's lackey, and Reggie has been exposed at Scripps. So we see Scripps in Reggie and stuff. like I said, this NXT was a little bit boring than usual. Uh, it is what it is. Even this, what's her name? Like you can see right here, JC Jane won her match against whatever that girl name is. JC Jane and what the hell girl? But it was part of Toxic Trash. JC Jane won a match covered with blood. Um, JC Jane getting revenge, and JC Jane looking forward to what's going on with her. But you can tell she's covered with blood over Gigi Dolan. Yeah, Gigi Dolan. So hey, how that went down and stuff, we'll have to wait and see if Roderick continues. But Gigi Dolan and JC Jane had a few. JC Jane won, but Gigi has got a lot to prove going forward and stuff. Um, you can see Gigi Dolan on Casey Jane covering blood. So hey, she won her match the way in her own fashion slavery. Also, too, was the debut of Danny Palmer. Danny Palmer made her debut. Danny Palmer won her match against a jobber. Danny Palmer might be big things I'm looking forward for Danny Palmer. I'll tell you that right now. So we'll have to wait and see why they're gonna beat this women's division. Maybe she might be into a women's division that we may see coming up. You never know. Also, too, who else? Also, too, um, Joe Gacy won his match. Joe Gacy won the Dyad a match, earned him a tag team opportunity shot. And you kind of remember the Dyad off character. They requested their release from WWE, and now they're kind of placed back. I guess Shawn Michaels had to convince them, hey, you stick around, we'll give you a tag team titles match. I think the Dyad might be a little step forward into getting a tag team championship match down the road. And now we can confirm right here that the Dyad will get a tag team championship match against Gallus next week. Gallus defend the tag team champions against the Dyad. So we'll get to see that coming up soon rather than later. The Dyad plotting and planning, and that's what they were plotting and planning for. So we just have to wait and see how that's gonna go down eventually. Also, too, speaking of tag team champions, the women's tag team champions, Ava Fire and Issa Gray, they have been drafted to SmackDown, so they're gonna bring it to SmackDown. There's been talk that they might bring the tag team titles to SmackDown and unify with the undisputed the women's tag team titles. You know, might have tag team champion versus tag team champions down the road. You never know. Well, we know that Kaden Carter and Katina Chance they got drafted last night to Raw. So this was gonna be the last meeting between these ladies for the tag team championship. The confrontation really started Friday on SmackDown when the women's tag team, the NXT women's tag team champions were in view, and then Katina Carter and Katana Chance interrupted, issuing this setting up this match for tonight. Well, the tag team champions found a way and they won their match by defeating Container Tartar and Container Chance. So they're taking those tag team NXT tag team titles to SmackDown. We don't know how they're gonna do it. They're gonna probably have to do double duty. Like Booker T said, you're gonna have to pull double duty in order for them to get it. So hey, we'll see how this is gonna go down eventually. Stuff. Well, we know Von Wagner. What's his name is trying to get in touch with Von Wagner to see what Von Wagner is all about. Von Wagner, Robert Stone trying to get a in-depth look at Von Wagner. Von Wagner showing baby pictures, showing him with his father, Mike Bloom, who used to be part of the Beverly Brothers, and the Destruction Crew in the AWA. I remember the Destruction Crew in the AWA, like old tape saying, "I got this. Let me handle this." And he was about to say something. "I got this. Let me handle this." There you go. Speaking of that, Rich Jensen finally learned the error of his ways when his tag team partners had to teach him a lesson and bring him back to reality. With Bruce Jensen, uh, some say he a nerd, and others say something different. But at the time of that, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. But we'll have to wait and see Brooks Jensen back to normal for now. Brooks Jensen, no longer under the influence of last week when he got dumped by what's her name, and it kind of dumped and it left that bad feeling in his mouth, and he had to suck it up and was friends to have his back again. So hey, I know that was kind of tough, but you never know and stuff how that's gonna be. All right. Um, speaking of that, was the end. Indy Hartwell had a message. Indy Hartwell looking forward. She's moving to Monday Night Raw. Indy Hartwell, the current NXT Women's Champion. And I never would have thought Indy Hartwell was going to but Indy Hartwell made the announcement that she about having fun memories in NXT. Indy Hartwell now goes to Raw, and Hartwell now will go over. But she had unexpected company. Dexter Lumis came out there, and Dexter Lumis welcomed his woman, Indy Hartwell. And Indy Hartwell left the NXT Women's Championship in the middle of the ring, and she decided for the ladies to go after for it. The ladies did. Uh, Indy Hartwell no longer the NXT Women's Champion. She vacated the championship, and now we know that Indy made a important message that in 3 weeks at NXT Battleground, there will be a new NXT Women's Champion. Indy Hartwell will probably present the championship to the woman who wins the Women's Championship. We'll see that at Battleground, but we can tell probably Tiffany Stratton to finally win the NXT Women's title. And we'll see. So hey, we leave it with that. All right, that ends the NXT ring report. Let's move forward to Wrestling Hot Topics. Wrestling Hot Topics right here. Samantha Irvin, who's engaged to Ricochet, she'll be moving to the Red brand. She'll be the Raw ring announcer. Mike Rollins will be switching over to SmackDown as the SmackDown ring announcer. So a new look, a new feel, new sound on Raw and SmackDown going forward. Speaking of that, we want to wish the great one, The Rock, the People's Champion, a happy birthday. The Rock turned 51 today. The Rock's 51 years old. All right. The Rock may be rumored to be having a main event match at WrestleMania. We haven't heard and confirmed what the match could be, but we're just waiting to see how this is all going to play out. Speaking of that, we told you Katina Chance and Kaden Carter lost their opportunity for becoming women's tag team champions again. Now they're heading to Raw, and like I said, they were the longest reigning women's tag team champions in NXT history. So Cameron Grimes, haven't seen him in a while. He's heading to SmackDown. Cameron Grimes with a new physique. So we'll see Cameron Grimes go to SmackDown. Speaking of that, we thought Pretty Deadly was locking solid for Raw, but they're heading to SmackDown. So Triple H tried to, trying to get them as he trying to do, but we'll see. Indy sure was drafted. We didn't see that coming, but Jinder Mahal, Veer, and what's his name? They're all coming to Raw again. Speaking of that, Odyssey Jones heading to Raw. Well, they're just giving anybody a chance. If you go, you can make it. You can make it. And two, Grayson Waller heading to SmackDown. Grayson Waller doesn't have to be like another Miz. He's going to SmackDown. Grayson Waller's going to bring his arrogant, brash, cocky self to SmackDown. And we'll see Grayson Waller going to the Brew brand soon rather than later. All right. That's going to do it here on the Pro Wrestling Show for the NXT Ring Report. I've been your host, Kendrick Dix, saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow for the AEW Ring Report with a lot of dynamites. I'll see you then.